It's not even controversial anymore.
People know in Florida their freedoms are going to be respected.
Yeah, I called Miranda from the road and I was like, I'm sorry, because we always pre-tape Florida Report because she's on a way different time zone. It's just easier that way. And I was like, we have to cancel Florida Report today. And she encouraged me, just do it anyway, because there were some good stories that we had to talk about today. So DeSantis has been on the campaign trail now that he's officially announced his bid for governor. And so he was in, I think this happened in New Hampshire. And it's just, one of my arguments against Trump used to be that the media just tears him down, and it just becomes this very divisive situation. And a lot of you had said at the time, well, Brandi, the media is going to do the same thing to Ron DeSantis. And you were right, because they are treating Ron DeSantis essentially the same as they treated Donald Trump. And so Ron DeSantis gave a speech in front of supporters and then didn't take questions from the crowd after, but then he was out mingling, right? So there's this AP reporter who, sticks a mic in Ron DeSantis's face and wants to know why he's not taking questions from the people. And Ron DeSantis looks around. They're in a crowd of people who he's actively talking to and taking questions from. And he goes to this AP reporter like, are you blind? Here is the clip.
Why not take any questions from voters, Governor? Governor, how come you're not taking questions from voters?
Not coming up to me, talk to me. What are you talking about? I'm not here murder with people. Are you blind? Are you blind?
I'm not blind.
Okay, so people are coming up to me, talking to me, whatever they want to talk to me about.
Which I usually don't like when politicians talk to members of the media that way, when he's like, are you blind? But are you blind? Because I was literally like, he's in a crowd of
that's
people.
That's a human reaction to an annoying person yelling that at you when you're literally doing it.
He's in the crowd. Yeah, he's taking pictures and people are coming up to him and saying, why won't you take questions from the people? As he's literally surrounded by the people. And that's why people don't trust the media, because they're just like, what do you think he's doing? He could have been on a schedule or whatever. Maybe he wanted face-to-face time, that he didn't take questions standing up on stage after he spoke. It's just so bizarre to me.
And I think in a situation like that, it's obvious that reporter doesn't like him, right? Because if you liked him, you would phrase that differently when he's literally in a crowd of people taking questions.
It wouldn't have come up in your mind. It's just like you're actively looking, and I'm all for holding politicians accountable. I think that every person running for the highest office in the land should be asked very, very difficult questions, but questions that make sense. And that reporter never would have went to Biden like, why didn't you take questions from the people? Can you imagine Biden
he might, because Biden doesn't.
Well, I know, but at a campaign event and the president spoke, can you ever see, first of all, the president walking around the room like that? And second, that a reporter would go up and be like, why didn't you take questions on stage from the people?
Right.
Never would have happened in a million years. Okay, also on the Ron DeSantis campaign front, man, Trump, he's so petty. He's so petty. And I know this is going to start to become like an anti-Trump, pro-DeSantis show, but I'm not really pro-DeSantis. I'm not on team DeSantis. You guys know I don't like Trump, but some of the stuff he's saying is just ridiculous. And he was saying that, he's gotten super petty against DeSantis in Florida because he's just petty against people who are running against him or who don't support him. Donald Trump lives at Mar-a-Lago. He lives there. If he hated Florida, I don't think that he would live there. And he made this comment about how New York under Governor Cuomo did better than Ron DeSantis did during COVID, which is just an absurd statement. So anyway, Ron DeSantis reacted to that and pushed back against that sentiment.
If you say Cuomo did a better job with COVID than Florida did, first of all, that's not what he used to say. This is like new. Like 6 months ago, he would have never said that, right? He used to say how great Florida was. Hell, his whole family moved to Florida under my governorship. Are you kidding me? So some of this stuff, I think, is, look, if someone is saying that, I am gonna counterpunch. I'm gonna fight back on it. I'm gonna focus my fire on Biden. And I think he should do the same. He gives Biden a free pass. I'm focusing on Biden. That's my focus.
Yeah, and I agree in part with DeSantis there. I mean, obviously, when you're competing with someone for the nomination of your party, you do have to set yourself apart from them. I wish he would do it in not unhinged ways that actually make sense and try to draw a distinct, clear policy difference between himself and DeSantis versus claiming that Florida is some terrible place when obviously he doesn't believe so. But I'm worried that, because if you've seen the Trump and DeSantis camps, like their surrogates, are being insane to each other on Twitter. It's so childish, it's so petty, and I'm like, a year of that? A year of you guys rolling around in the mud? Well, there is so many things that you can attack Biden on and focus on Biden, Biden, Biden. It's bizarre to me. So I do think Trump, as much as I understand that he needs to make sure that he's the nominee, and that's what any candidate would want to do, I still wouldn't do it. You know, we talked about it yesterday. Don't cut off your nose to spite your face. Okay, I realize I'm not as entertaining as my sister, but that has been Florida Report.
It's not even controversial anymore.
People know in Florida their freedoms are going to be respected.